So today we're going to discuss the poem written by William Blake, The Chimney Sweeper. Well, the poem itself has its two versions. One is When My Mother Died, which we're going to have a synopsis we're going to analyze today, and the other one is A Little Black Thing Among the Snow, which we may discuss or which we may have its synopsis in another video. So, at the first place, why did William Blake write this poem? Well, during the era of William Blake, chimney sweeping work, or let's say chimney sweeping business, was quite a bit prevalent, and especially children were compelled to work. Children were forced to work in chimney sweeping business, which William Blake didn't like. So that's why he wrote this poem against the chimney sweeping business or the ideology behind chimney sweeping business. So let's go through the lines. When my mother died, I was very young. So this line is quite a bit self-explanatory. The poet is trying to say that when his mother died, when the poet's mother died, he was very young. He was just a child. And my father sold me while yet my tongue could scarcely cry, weep, 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 weep. So this is also self-explanatory. The poet is trying to say that his father sold him. He was sold while yet my tongue could scarcely cry, weep, 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 weep. Here, scarcely means barely or hardly. So he was sold by his father at such an age that he could he could barely say weep, 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 weep. Here, weep means sweep. Sweep simply means to clean. So your chimneys I sweep and in shoot I sleep. So this is kind of bits of a slogan that he used while he was in work. So your chimneys I sweep, I clean your chimneys, and in shoot I sleep. Shoot is a particle, kind of like a particle that resembles with coal. It's the particle that is supposed to be cleaned. So in shoot I sleep, while when I clean your chimney, when I sweep your chimney, I get covered in shoot and I sleep like that. So I think it's kind of a bit explanatory as well. So there is a little Tom Dacre who cried when his head that curled like a lamb's back was saved. So here the poet introduces us with a new character, with a new figure, with a new personality, whose name is Tom Dacre. And who cried when his head that curled like a lamb's back was saved? So who cried? Tom Dacre cried. And why did he cry? Because his hair was saved. And here, that curled like a lamb's back. Here, this line. With this line, the poet is comparing Tom's hair with lamb's back. As had you noticed that backs or the lamb's back is white and curly, so does Tom's. So the poet has compared Tom's hair with Lamb's back. Hush, and so I said, hush, Tom, never mind it, for when your head's bare, you know that a shoot cannot spoil your hair. Since Tom was crying, the poet tried to convince Tom, saying, Tom, you need not be sad, because now that your head's bare, shoot cannot spoil your white hair. Shoot, I've already said that shoot is a particle that resembles with coal. Now that Tom's head is bare, why when he's in work, when he's was cleaning or when he's sweeping the chimney, shoot cannot spoil your head. If you had gone for work with your beautiful white curly hair, then shoot would have spoiled your hair. Now that your head is bare, shoot cannot spoil your hair. So the poet convinced Tom like this. And so he was quiet, and that very night, as Tom was asleep, he had such a sight. And poet convinced him, and he was quiet. And that very night, as Tom was sleeping, when Tom was sleeping, he had such a sight. And here, sight means dream. When Tom was sleeping, he had a dream that thousands of sweepers, Dick, Joe, Ned, and Jack, were all of them locked up in coffins of black. And in that particular dream, he had seen lots of sweepers, thousands of sweepers, Dick, Joe, Ned, Jack, just like him or just like them, who were locked up in black coffin. So the Tom was quiet, and that particular night, when Tom was sleeping, he had a dream, and that in that particular dream, he saw that there were thousands of sweepers who were locked up in a black coffin. And let's go to our next stanza. And by came an angel who had a bright key. And by came an angel who had a bright key, and opened the coffin and set them all free. And in that particular dream, then an angel came by who had a bright key, and the angel opened up the coffins and freed and set them all free. The sweepers who were locked up in black coffin, the angel set them all free with the help of bright key. Then down a green plain, leaping, laughing they run, and wash in a river and shine in the sun. Then down, a green plain. A green plain we can understand, or this green plain represents we can say a green playground. And leaping, laughing they run. Since they'd been locked up for a long time in the black coffin, and now they were freed. So they were leaping, laughing, they were running here and there, they were full of joy, they were euphoric, and was in the river, and they dived in the river with joy, and they shined in the sun. Since they were cleaned, they were shining in the sun. So let's go to our next stanza. Then naked and white, all their bags left behind, they rise up upon clouds and sports in the wind. So I think this is quite a bit self-explanatory as well. Then naked and white, they were clean and white, all their bags left behind. They had left their bags behind, the bags that consists of chimney sweeping tools that they used while going to their work, in their work. They rise upon clouds and sport in the wind. So it's kind of like a metaphor here. They rise upon the cloud. Why did they rise upon the cloud? It could be because they are now free of burden, and the burden is their bag. And this bag represents the whole business or their whole work. Now that they are free from their work, they are free from their bag. This bag represents their whole work of chimney sweeping. Now that they are free from the burden, they are light. Now that they are light, they rise up on clouds and sport in the wind. Sport means just play, to play. And the angel told Tom, if he'd be a good boy, he'd have God for his father and never want joy. And then the angel came to Tom, or the angel came beside the Tom, and the angel said that if Tom would be a good boy, if you would be a good boy, then you would get God for your father and never want joy. If Tom would be a good boy, then the angel will send God for his father and never want joy. So I think that's quite a bit self-explanatory as well. And so Tom awoke, and we rose in the dark, and got with our bags and our brushes to work. Now Tom is awoke, and so are the other sweepers, and it was still dark, and got with our bags and our brushes to work. It was still dark, they got ready. They got ready for their work with their bags and brushes, and they started leaving. Though the morning was cold, Tom was happy and warm. Though the morning was dark and cold, Tom was happy and warm. Why Tom was happy and warm? Because of the dream that he had just witnessed. Because in the dream, angel had said that if he'd be a good boy, he would get God for his father. So he was happy, he was warm. So yeah, that is quite a bit self-explanatory as well. So if all they do their duty, they do not need to fear harm. So if all do their duty, they need not fear harm. So this is kind of it like a moral, or kind of it like a message that William Blake is trying to portray in this poem. So if all their duty, if we all do our duty with our full integrity, with our full honesty, then we do not need to fear anything. We need not fear harm.